So, I know very little about the art of making a film, but I do know a lot about the art of watching a film. So today, I've compiled a list of my top 10 favorite movies of all time, and I'm going to share this list with all of you. And I'll go ahead and say, this is probably a controversial list. Alright, number 10, Home Alone. Now, Home Alone isn't a movie that you would probably typically see in a top 10 movies list, but it is on mine, because I'm making this list just based on personal bias. Okay? These are my favorite movies, not the movies I think are the best. So, the reasons why I like Home Alone. One, I think it's the best Christmas movie. Okay? Elf and Jingle All the Way are close seconds, but Home Alone to me is just so good because it really makes me feel at home and comfortable. Alright, if that makes sense. Like, I can envision myself as a little Kevin McAllister running around having a grand old time. And I envisioned it way more when I was like 8, even though 8-year-old me would have been shitting his pants in fear if my whole family were across the world. But anyways, yeah, I've watched it like every year around Christmas since like 2018, and Home Alone is number 10. Next up, number 9, Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Now, this is another movie that's kind of random to see in a top 10, but the reason I have this movie on here is because I don't really like animated movies. However, I felt the need to put at least one on this list, and this is the one I chose. So this movie is not the best movie, I will admit that. I mean, there's a lot of dumb stuff that happens.
I've done worse.
But Mr. Peabody and Sherman is a movie that I used to watch a lot when I was younger, so it really just gives me a nostalgic feel. Plus, it's a very unique movie. It's a very unique movie while also delivering really well on a pretty basic theme of father and son. So yeah, this movie is pretty good for an animated movie, I will say, and it's also funny as hell. So yeah, that's another thing. Alright, next up, number 8, Wolf of Wall Street. This movie was so damn funny and so damn enthralling. Alright, that's a big ass word. But when I first saw it, like it seriously, I was locked in to this movie for the 3-hour runtime. Okay, the story of Jordan Belfort is so entertaining, it's crazy. And it's also crazy that there's so much stuff to his story that is that crazy that they couldn't even put it in the movie. Alright? That's how crazy his story is. Like, this movie left me wanting to be the next IRL Jordan Belfort. And on top of everything that I just said, we got to see Margot Robbie basically naked on screen. So, I mean, like, yeah, come on. Come on. It's great. This movie is for real amazing. This movie is for real phenomenal. And it's something I would recommend to absolutely anyone, no matter what kind of movies you like or get into. Now, this next movie, number 7, is a fairly newer movie, but it's one that I have liked since the day it came out, and that's Leave the World Behind. Okay, this is a Netflix original, and this movie was produced by the damn Obamas, alright, Barack and Michelle. And it is wild. Like, it is some truly eye-opening shit. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but the fact that this movie was produced by the former president and has got some kind of cyber attack and invasion on the United States is a little weird. Okay, but I'm not. I'm gonna stop talking before the CIA come and get me and put me in a damn black site. Okay, but anyways, this is my favorite disaster movie, and much like Home Alone, it is really only set in one house or area for most of the movie, so it kind of has like a cozy vibe to it, and I really like that. And this movie just does a really good job at mixing comedy and suspense and drama and horror all into one. Plus, the acting in this movie is really, really good, but that goes for basically every movie on this entire list. Alright, now, number 6, Halloween 1978. Now, I already made a video talking about all Halloween and Michael Myers, but to sum it up quickly, it's my favorite slasher movie. I love Michael Myers as a character, and that movie is just what started that entire franchise. So yeah, I had to put this on the list because I love horror movies. So yeah. Now, moving on. Number 5. All right, halfway done. Joker. 2019 Joker. Now, this movie is highly controversial because I know a lot of people that cannot stand this movie, and I know a lot of people that really like this movie. Me personally, I like it. Okay, I think it's alright. I think it's a pretty good movie, and I've liked it since it came out. Now, I don't love it, but it is in my top 10. Although, a few years ago, it would have definitely been higher up on this list. Like, probably 1 or 2, if I'm being honest. My reasons for liking it so much is just because it's a very unique adaptation of the Joker character, and I've always liked Joker as a character, and I think Joaquin Phoenix's performance in this is really good, like probably, you know, if not his best, one of his best performances ever. So yeah, number 5 is Joker, but now Joker 2, definitely not on the list. So sorry to any of you Joker 2 fans out there, all 5 of you that are upset that that movie is not on this list. Okay, so on to the top 4. Now, this 4th spot was really hard to determine because I think number 3 and 4 could both easily be put ahead of one another. But I have decided that my number 4 is Django Unchained. Now, I love Quentin Tarantino movies, and I love Django, but the only thing holding this movie back from being in the 3rd spot is its runtime. Now, this movie clocks in at a whopping 2 hours and 45 minutes, and that is a whole 1 hour and 1 minute longer than the number 3 spot. So I have a lot more rewatchability with number 3, and I have watched it more, but I don't think that the runtime makes this movie any worse. Okay, this is just to determine number 3 or number 4. Okay, but what I love about this movie is just the Western feel and how it does something that is fairly rare in the Western genre, and that is make a strong black lead. Alright, now I also love Jamie Foxx and Christoph Waltz's performances in this movie. That's another thing. I absolutely love their performances. Like, I love these characters, and I really get behind both of their characters. And I love that I absolutely hate Leonardo DiCaprio's character. He might bring the best performance in the whole movie, which isn't at all surprising, but it kind of is when the movie is absolutely stacked on the cast. That is always something great about Tarantino movies, is the castings. I also feel the same way about Samuel Jackson's character that I do Leo's. And honestly, I might hate his character even more. Like, he was a slave that was also beating and torturing the other slaves somehow. I don't know how that works, but you get the point. Okay, now, on to number 3.
Get out. Sorry, man. Okay. Get out! Yo! Yo! Chill, man. Get out! Chill, man! Chill!
I love horror movies, and I love comedy movies, and this movie is the absolute perfect mix of both. Neither genre outshines the other, but obviously this is labeled as a horror movie, so it does a really good job at being super funny while also being legitimately terrifying. Like, there are so many scenes in this movie that really genuinely scare me and have every time I've watched it. In particular, the scenes where Daniel Kaluuya's character, Chris, is going to smoke a cigarette in the middle of the night, and the first jump scare is just to the audience. Chris doesn't even see it, I don't think. And it's when the girl maid quickly scurries past him down the hallway. Like, that scene really made me jump. And then the second jump scare is when the male maid is running towards Chris outside. Both of those scenes are legit so terrifying, and I love them. Now, there are a lot more scares in the movie than those two, but those two in particular have always stood out to me. Another scene in this movie that I really like is the scene where Chris gets put into a trance or gets sent to the second place or whatever by Rose's mom. Okay, that scene, the first time I watched the movie, I legit had to pause afterwards and just think about how that was the best movie scene I had ever seen. And I'm not exaggerating when I say that at all. Like, it's so calming and just has me so hooked and locked in when I'm watching it. And like, every time I've watched the movie, I also really love the emotion that Daniel Kaluuya expresses during that scene. Like, I think that's the best acted out scene in the whole movie. But Daniel Kaluuya does an incredible job. He instantly became one of my favorite actors after I saw him in this for the first time. I also just want to say that Chris's friend, the TSA agent, Rod Williams, who's played by Lil Rel Howery, I think that's how you say his name, is the funniest part of this movie. Like, every scene that he is in is just absolutely hilarious and is amazing. But it's not really surprising that this movie is very funny, since it is written and directed by Jordan Peele. Now, number 2. This is a movie that for years was my number 1. But it got dethroned in like 2023 or somewhere around there. And that is 2008's Iron Man. Now, I'm sure everyone watching this video that doesn't know me personally is going to be kind of shocked to see that Iron Man, of all things, is so high on this list. But I absolutely love this movie. It is my most rewatched movie ever by a long shot. I have probably watched this movie at least 20 times. Okay, it is so entertaining to me, and I can't even place why. because from a movie quality standpoint, it's not even the best MCU movie. But I love the character of Tony Stark, and this movie is my all-time favorite superhero character origin movie. Right? It's super funny and has a lot of super iconic scenes in it. I absolutely love Robert Downey Jr. in this movie as well. I think out of all of the other MCU movies and the other movies he's been in general, this one is probably his best performance. Shout out to Endgame though. That's one of the saddest deaths I've ever witnessed on screen. I think the biggest reason though why I love this movie so much is just because out of any comic book hero or character, I would choose to be Iron Man by far. Alright, now before we get to number one, I just want to say a few honorable mentions. Alright, and these are a few movies that were very close to being on this list. Some of them were actually on this list when I was first writing this, but were taken off for another movie to be put on. So the first two honorable mentions on this list are Jordan Peele's other two movies, Us and Nope. Alright, and I'm going to go through these honorable mentions pretty quickly. Alright, these are great movies. I particularly like Us, and particularly, that's a hard word to say, but I like Us a lot. But they are both really, really good, and just a few steps under Get Out to me. 3 and 4 honorable mentions. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, not 3. And the reason I don't have 3 is just because I didn't enjoy it as much. Alright, but James Gunn is an amazing director, and I think the first Guardians specifically is his best movie. So yeah, those are both up there. Halloween 2018 is next. Now, I don't think the movie is like extraordinary or anything, and it's not anywhere near this list, but as someone who's such a big fan of Michael Myers, I had to shout out my second favorite Halloween. A bunch of other Quentin Tarantino movies. I'm talking Hateful Eight, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Inglourious Basterds, Reservoir Dogs, Kill Bill, pretty much any other Tarantino movie besides Django, because I love all of them. I just didn't want to bombard this list with Tarantino movies, so I just put my favorite one. Alright, and the last two honorable mentions are Boondock Saints 1 and 2. I watched both of these movies a few years ago, and I absolutely love them. I love the characters in these movies so much, and Willem Dafoe gives an amazing performance. So I would say those movies are like number 11 and 12 on my list. They are like literally just behind all these other movies in terms of what I like. Now, moving on. The number one spot on this list goes to the movie that I believe to be the greatest movie of all time, Christopher Nolan's Interstellar. Christopher Nolan is one of the greatest movie directors of all time, and this movie is his best movie, and it is my favorite. Alright, I love the characters in this movie. I love the story of this movie. I love that somehow, even though this movie is set millions of miles away in another galaxy, that I get a homey and cozy feel when I watch it. This film is my comfort film. I love every second of the 2 hours and 49 minutes of this movie, and it has me locked in every time. It makes me feel real strong emotions every time I watch it. It is the greatest film I have ever seen, and it is my favorite movie of all time. And I would go more in detail about what I love about this movie, and just anything about it in general. But I think I'm gonna make a separate video solely on this movie.